Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're ripping the lid off something that affects almost every single one of us, the American medical bill. We're going to dive into a landmark investigation that exposes just how confusing and frankly crippling it can be.
So, to really get a handle on this, let's start with a story. This is about Sean and Stephanie Recchi. Imagine this. Sean gets diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. His wife Stephanie does what any of us would do. She's thinking, we have to get him the best care no matter what it costs. Her words really say it all. You do anything you can in a situation like that. And no matter the cost, well, it turned out to be a very specific, very shocking number. Because the hospital decided their insurance wasn't good enough, they demanded $83,900. And get this, up front, in advance, just to even start his diagnosis and treatment.
So what do? Sean's family did what they had to do. Stephanie's mom actually wrote a check for the full amount. They get on a plane to Houston, and that's when they're handed a bill that, believe it or not, is the key to unlocking the whole insane mystery of American healthcare costs.
Okay, so the big question is, how on earth does a bill get that high? The first one they got for Sean was, wait for it, 344 lines long. 8 full pages. It's like it's designed to be impossible to understand, you know? Just a sea of codes and weird acronyms. But if you actually dig in and look closely, a really shocking story starts to take shape.
All right, so let's do this. Let's treat this bill like a crime scene. We're going to follow the money. We're going to go line by line and see how a single visit to a hospital can end up costing more than a lot of people make in a whole year.
Check this out. The very first item on the bill, one single acetaminophen pill, basically Tylenol, for $1.50. Now, I know that sounds kind of small, right? But that one little pill, that's our first clue. It's a hint at this incredibly aggressive pricing strategy that's just woven into this entire thing. And to put that into perspective, it's just wild. The hospital charged them more for one single pill than you or I would pay for a bottle of 100 of them on Amazon. 100! I mean, think about that. They're buying this stuff in massive bulk, getting huge discounts, and then charging this insane premium.
But honestly, the Tylenol, that's just the appetizer. The family got charged over $15,000 for lab work. But here's the part that'll really get you. If Sean had been on Medicare, the hospital would have gotten paid maybe a few $100s for the exact same tests. And that's because Medicare's prices are legally set to be close to what it actually costs the hospital to run the test, not just some random number they pull out of thin air. Then we get to the really serious stuff, the life-saving drugs. The family was billed over $13,000 for just one injection of the cancer drug Rituxan. But the hospital's actual cost for that drug? It's probably somewhere around $3,000, maybe $4,000. Do the math, that is a 400% markup.
And look, this isn't just about one hospital being greedy. This pricing strategy is everywhere. To really understand where these crazy numbers come from, we need to look at a totally different case. This one's going to reveal the secret document that's behind pretty much every insane medical bill in the country.
Okay, so let me introduce you to Janice S. She's 64, she's out of work, and she has no health insurance. An ambulance takes her to Stanford Hospital, which, by the way, is a nonprofit, for chest pains. The diagnosis? Turns out it was just indigestion. The bill? Over $21,000.
So why was it 21 grand? The reason has a name. The Charge Master. Think of it like a hospital's secret internal price list. It's kind of the dirty little secret of the entire healthcare industry. You know, hospital officials, they'll try to tell you it doesn't matter, that it's just some internal document. But trust me, it is the foundation for billions of dollars in medical charges.
Here's a perfect example right from Janice's bill. A standard blood test, the one they do to check if you're having a heart attack. She was charged almost $200 for it. Now, what does Medicare pay for that same test? A test based on the hospital's actual costs? Less than $14. $14! That's a markup of over 1,300%. It's just staggering.
And this right here really gets to the core injustice of the whole system. It's the people who can least afford it, patients with no insurance or really bad insurance, who get hit with these full, insane Charge Master prices. Why? Because they don't have a giant insurance company or the government in their corner fighting for them and negotiating those prices down.
So you have to ask, right? If these prices are so disconnected from reality, where is all that money going? Well, this system has allowed many officially nonprofit hospitals to become some of the most profitable businesses in their communities.
Yeah, nonprofit. Let's circle back to MD Anderson, the hospital that treated Sean Recchi. Remember, they're a nonprofit. Well, in just 1 year, they had an operating profit of $531 million. That is a 26% profit margin. Most for-profit companies can only dream of numbers like that.
And you better believe the executives are getting paid. The president of MD Anderson, he made over $1.8 million in a year. For comparison, that is nearly 3 times what the president of the entire University of Texas system, which MD Anderson is a part of, was making. And this isn't just a one-off thing. This is the norm all across the country.
So you end up with this totally bizarre situation, right? These hospitals are officially nonprofit and tax-exempt, but they've become these local economic juggernauts. They're often the biggest business in town, the largest employer, and their CEOs are the highest paid executives around. And the craziest part? On average, these nonprofits actually have higher profit margins than the for-profit hospitals.
But this whole problem is way bigger than just the hospitals. The entire system. It's protected. It's shielded by an absolutely staggering amount of political power and money. And what that creates is the ultimate seller's market.
And how do they protect it? Simple. Money. Lots and lots of money. Just look at the lobbying numbers. Between 1998 and 2012, the healthcare industry spent over $5 billion on lobbying in Washington. To put that in perspective, that is more than 3 times what the entire military-industrial complex spent over the same time. I mean, just let that sink in. 3 times. So what does all that lobbying money actually buy? It buys the status quo. It maintains a system where we, the patients, are completely powerless. Think about it. You don't choose to get sick. You can't exactly shop around for the best price when you're having a heart attack. And you almost never have any idea what something costs until that terrifying bill shows up in your mailbox weeks later.
Okay, so we've been through the crazy bills, the secret price lists, the massive profits. After all of that, what's the one thing you really need to take away from this?
It's this. For decades, the entire national debate we've been having about healthcare has been focused on the wrong question. We argue and argue and argue about insurance, about who should pay the bill, the government, the insurance company, you, but we almost never stop to ask the most basic, most obvious question: why in the world are the bills so ridiculously high to begin with?
The whole system, it's designed to distract you from asking that very question. But until we all start demanding answers, until we challenge the very existence of things like the charge master, that bitter pill of American medical costs is just going to be impossible for millions of people to swallow. The very first step, it's just to start asking the right question.